Welcome to the final GPP Master Elite in Value, sadly, video of 2017/18. It's been a great year. I know I've done a really well this year on DraftKings and tournaments and have made money, and I believe many of our members have done the same based on what you've told us and based on how some of our recommendations have gone on GPP Master in this video on our Patriots show. So, hope everyone did well. We have one more week to do it here. If after this week I'm done, I don't play the Pro Bowl, Super Bowl tournament, that's just a gimmick. Stay away. If you want to hit me up on FanCred, our social app, download FanCred and find me under Andrew Miller. If you play NBA DFS, that's my game. So feel free to hit me up on FanCred and private message me from there. But moving on to the championship weekend, a two-game slate. I want to be upfront. I don't think this is an easy week to win a tournament. I think, as I said last week, once we get to the two-game slate here, we're getting pretty narrow. And then you throw in the three quarterbacks who we're talking about other than Brady, a potentially injured Brady, and some really incredible defenses. And this is going to be a tough haul. But doesn't matter. That's why we're here. So I'm going to focus on the $25, $250,000 tournament, first place prize. And again, as we said last week, we have a $4 tournament on DraftKings with a 20 entry maximum. So you can play all 20 entries for $80 and actually be right on the even playing field with the pros who might not even be in that tournament by this time, between the small slate, NBA heating up, and a 20 entry limit. So that's a real opportunity to win $100,000 this week, $100,000. So look, this is a week where we have the Patriots with a total of 27.8, but the line is falling and there's question marks around Brady's health. If Brian Hoyer were to ever play this game or Brady's really banged up, this is a whole different ballgame now because it puts him more of an equal playing field with the other quarterbacks. We have Minnesota with 20.5 total of points expected, and then we drop off the deep end with Jacksonville and Philly. So this is a week where you're going to really have to differentiate and find a crack in the armor to make your lineup different but successful. It's not going to be a 245-point win, better than almost any regular season last week in that crazy offensive showdown that we had in the divisionals. This is going to be a 205, 210, maybe 190 to win the tournament. So you got to find yourself a window. We're going to try to help you do that today. Strategically, for me, just to be clear here, I'm not going to be differentiating at quarterback, defense, or tight end as much as I am. I'm going to try to find that window where there's more options at running back and wide receiver and how I mix that up strategically. On the quarterback front, and I'm going to focus on if I were playing 20 lineups in either tournament, but 20 in the 20 max one, I'm going to pretty much assume for the moment Brady's playing and he's relatively healthy. I'm going to be weighted. I'm going to use all four quarterbacks. I'm going to go 7 Brady, 7 Keenum, 4 Bortles, 2 Foles. That's how I'm weighting it. Brady, Keenum about equal, maybe a little more to Brady if he's really fine. Keenum, Bortles, and Foles. And on the defensive front, I'm just going here specifically either the Patriots or the Vikings, depending which lineup, and I'll mix that up a little bit. I like the Vikings because I just think this is going to be a tough. I think they're the best of the 4 defenses, and I think this is going to be tough sledding for Nick Foles. And I like the Patriots at home, Belichick. I'm not sold on Bortles. I think they'll stop Fournette, which we'll get to. But look, any of these defenses can pay off, and if you hit the right one, it could make the difference here. Every point's going to matter this week in a low-scoring tournament week here. So that's how I'm playing the quarterbacks. We'll come back to how we work those, but I would just evenly distribute them and be smart. Don't play Brady, or don't play Bortles with a Fournette, or don't play Keenum as much with Murray, who doesn't catch the ball. Be smart about how you mix and match. I told you guys what we're doing about the defense. So that brings me to the positions where I'm going to differentiate. First of all, one of the stands I'm taking, it's risky, but you got to take risks in this final week where it's tough to differentiate. I keep coming back to it. Can't play everybody. I'm going to be fading Leonard Fournette completely. One, because he'll be popular because he has the best matchup statistically. He's looked great. But Bill Belichick will stop Leonard Fournette. That's like he did Derrick Henry. He will make Blake Bortles beat him in this game, period. and he'll do everything he needs to do to keep Fournette a non-factor. That doesn't mean Fournette's not good enough to have a game, and he might, but I'm fading him and using that as a chance to save money and differentiate. We'll get to that on receiver. With that said, I'm going to spend all the way up for 8,100 on Dion Lewis in many of my lineups, not all of them, but most of them, just because you can run in the Jaguars. They are 29th against the run and 10th against the running back coming out of the backfield. I think there'll be a little bit lower ownership because of his price and because how James White did last week, and maybe with a healthy Rex Burkhead back. So I think there's a window to just ride the Dion Lewis bandwagon here because he has been the bellwether. And if Brady is hurt or is having trouble throwing, even more so. I also think Jacksonville is not as capable to stop Lewis because you can't let Brady and Gronk run down the field, where the Patriots can put the ball in Bortles' hands and hope it works out. Number two, I'm going to McKinnon, okay, because I think, look, if you get 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 point per receptions, if he catches 5 or 6 balls, number one, those are 5 or 6 invaluable points this week that you get against a very tough run defense. If he breaks one, he has a better chance of breaking a long touchdown on a screen than he does on the ground. He's a better chance of breaking a long touchdown than Murray in general. So Murray, better chance of getting a touchdown or two inside the red zone. But I like McKinnon here. That's, again, another point of differentiation for me. And while I said I'm fading Fournette, TJ Yeldon has been good. And if the game flow goes as Vegas expects it and Jacksonville is playing from behind, they're going to have to throw the ball, and that's going to be TJ Yeldon. He's put up 16 points. I mean, he's been really quietly a sleeper, and he's cheap. He'll have some high ownership, too, probably higher than he should. But you can mix him into some of your lineups, although I prefer McKinnon. And then I think you can go with Rex Burkhead in some lineups if on Sunday morning he is active and is healthy and a part of the game plan, which you should be able to see by coming back to our site. Because he's a little expensive, but he is a guy Brady will look to down the middle in this game. And a nice pivot off White and Lewis. Because of his injury, I think he'll be lower owned than he normally would be, even though his price is high. At wide receiver, I am fading the hero, Purple Jesus. I'm fading Stephon Diggs because I just think what happened will cause too much ownership from him from the casual player. And he's been really hot lately, but this is a brutal matchup for him. And I think he could have a floor of 0 or 2 or 4 in this game. Now, he obviously could score 2 long touchdowns. Again, you have to make some decisions and take some risks. And I am fading Brandon Cooks between Brady's hand, between Ramsey, between the Jacksonville shutdown defense, and he's no Antonio Brown. Brady's having trouble getting Cooks the ball on a good day without a bad hand and without the Jaguars and without the pressure they're going to bring. So I think you just fade Cooks in this game and focus on other people. So what does that mean? I'm going to pay up for Thielen at 7,400. Again, check his health, but assuming he's good to go with his back. Because, again, 8 receptions, even if they're for 4 yards each, that's 8 points. Potential for a touchdown. You got to get points where you can get them this week in this week of defense, weak quarterbacks. So I like Thielen at 7,400 for the same reason I like McKinnon. Extra points for the reception. I love Chris Hogan. Okay, Brady threw a touchdown to him last week. He's going to be the guy he looks for down the middle. His ownership will be down because of Amendola, because of James White, because of Burkhead. But Chris Hogan is really Brady's go-to on this team, and he's back and healthy. And he's the place where the Jags have the chance to be the most vulnerable receiver-wise. On the Eagles, look, I think there's going to be a lot of Aguilar. He's a big play threat, so I do like that. But I also think Jeffrey is going to be ignored because of, again, people are assuming Rhodes is going to be shadowing Jeffrey. I'm not sure. Pay attention on Sunday morning to some of the beat reporters, because if they say Rhodes is going to stay on the side, or if he's going to stay with Aguilar, the bigger play, deep play threat, that opens up Jeffrey at $200 below, $4,600 versus Aguilar's $4,800. And I'm not scared of Jeffrey. He's a superstar, and that's a place to differentiate. So I will have a little bit of Jeffrey and a little bit of Aguilar from the Eagles as I diversify. But that's about it. That's my only Eagle. Literally, it's my only Eagle. I'll have either one of those two. That is it on the whole day, except for where I use Foles in a couple lineups. And then lastly, from the Jaguars, we know they have 4 receivers. It's kind of like pick your poison. So for me, I'm going to go for the same reason I said about Thielen. Marquise Lee. The Patriots are, looking here, I apologize, 26 against wide receiver ones. He is their wide receiver one. Let's make no mistake about it. Westbrook, Cole, Hearns, whether they're 2, 3, 4, okay, one is Marquise Lee healthy. And again, if he catches 6 or 7 or 8 balls, which he has the ability to do, he's not that big play threat that Westbrook or maybe Cole is, but 7 or 8 points are going to mean a ton here and can win you a tournament on a PPR side. So I'm going to go there, especially at the price point where he's pretty priced almost close to the other guys. Tight end, I like Rudolph because he's under $5,000 and the Eagles are most vulnerable there. 17th against tight ends. Keenum is comfortable going there. He's a red zone target every time they're down the field. Every time. And again, this is a game where a tight end touchdown can win you $250,000. Period. I don't know if any tight end in this week has the ability to go off. And then obviously Gronk, we did a clip on FanCred last night with Boston and a Jacksonville beat reporter, and the Jacksonville beat reporter said Gronk is uncoverable. Okay, he's their most daunting matchup ever in the history of the franchise. I'm just looking here for one more thing. So while I do this, so I think you got to have some great Brady Gronk stacks and just roll the dice, right? You won't be alone. You're gonna have to differentiate some other places, but I think you have to have that. And then the other tight end, absolutely to keep an eye on here. And I'm just looking at his prices, Mercedes Lewis, because the Patriots are going to take Fournette out of this game, and they're pretty strong in the corners, and they tend to get chewed up by tight ends. And I think Bortles is going to have to look that way. Mercedes Lewis is $2,500. He can score a touchdown. He can get 8, 10, 12 points. That's all you need. Okay? So when I need to use a tight end to save money, that's where I'm looking. So if I want to go Gronk, I might go Lewis because there's no receiver 2,500 if I need to pay up to get the other players I mentioned in. So off we go. It's been a great year. You can win a tournament this weekend. Play $24 lineups if that's your budget. If you have more budget, play 10 of the $25 at least, so you're at $250 there. Pay attention. Differentiate. Be smart. Oh, one more. I'm throwing it out. I'm jumping backwards. I think Torrey Smith at 3,000. Again, if you really need to go for a home run and save money, one touchdown, one long play, he won't be covered by Rhodes. He can beat the Vikings on a long play, and he's only $3,000. So Lewis and Smith are both money savers that you can fit other people around. But focus on points per reception this week. Focus on eking out points. This is not going to be a slugfest, shootout. Eke out points. Good luck.